Stars, bitches. With the season all wrapped up and over, I figured it was about time for me to come on here and break down a few of my thoughts. So join me, your boy Guapo Jim, as we talk about season 3 of... Without going into too much detail, this season, just like all other seasons before it, brought with us a bunch of changes. We've got a bunch of highs, a bunch of lows. Mark got a new costume. Everything's different. But on top of all that, we still see Mark and his family, and we see all of the things that he's going through as a superhuman. Again, Mark's mom is dating again. We've got Kid Omni-Man, or I should say Oliver, Oliver's powers kicked in. Side note, Kid Omni-Man is with the shits. Kid Omni-Man is my boy still. But yeah, even Mark himself has got a new ting. So in a lot of really positive ways, you can see that things are moving forward. Even when you talk about the GDA, or what's the superhero team? Global Guardians, I should say. Things are moving forward for them. Things are really moving forward positively for everybody, I guess you could say. Speaking of Mark and Eve, I know, again, if you guys have watched my channel before, I'm not the biggest fan of teeny bopper relationships, but this one, I'm not gonna lie, I don't hate it. And I guess you could say a lot of that kind of has to come from the fact that Eve herself has powers, so she can see things from Mark's perspective in that way. Obviously their powers are completely different, but because of the fact that she's a hero, it's she gets all of the things that really have to do with being a hero. Even, and again, it pains me to say this, but even Amber, I low-key, the more that this show progresses, I realize that I like her more and more as it goes on. I find Mark very immature. I get it, it's his character. He might be only 18 or 19. He's still very young, so he's gonna be immature. Not to mention he's got superpowers and shit. But I find it funny and kind of ironic, but also very poignant, and that it's real life. The fact that both of the women and a lot of the girls, I guess you could say, he kind of gets after, they're very mature. There's a real maturity about them that Mark kind of seems to lack. But if you know the show, it changes, But yeah, it's just an interesting thought. Speaking about maturity and personal growth, I'm not gonna lie, Rexplode, he had it this season still. Rexplode, he had it. Again, things kind of started off soft. Even from a bit of last season, you could kind of see the shift in Rex. You could kind of see him change a little bit. And he went from being the straight asshole on the team to that asshole with a heart. Even his relationship with him and Shrinking Ray, again, back to maturity. It was mature. You could see Rex growing as a person and growing as, I don't know, was he I guess you could say the leader, but yeah, you could see him growing as a person, growing as a leader. So, to see his sacrifice, yeah, it kind of sucked because you were seeing everything that was happening with his character. If I really had to scale them in my mind in terms of explosive heroes that go out with a blaze of glory and a sacrifice like that, I would still put Gambit as number 1 because that shit was crazy. But Rex definitely had a good number 2. I don't know if there's another one that I could think of, but his one was definitely not a close second, but in terms of explosive, self-sacrifices, Rex went in. I will say that, Rex went in. As much as this show is about Invincible, I thought that this season did a great job of really expanding the other characters and just everybody else in this show, We obviously did get the Invincible War, which, if I do say so, was a tad bit condensed. It wasn't gonna be one for the comic books, and I definitely get that, but animation constraints aside, I thought that it did go pretty well. But using that war in particular and using that fight, they used that fight to really show us a lot of the characters in this Skybound Image universe. You had Wolfman, you had Tech Jacket, who in the comic books plays a big deal still. You had Kid Thor, you had the Brit, I could go on. But I loved how they did that. I thought that was a really cool touch. We even got to see a tiny scene with Bulletproof. Y'all know, again, better than nothing, even the flashbacks that they did with Duplicate and Multi-Paul, and you kind of, you know, you got to see a bit of their upbringing. Like I loved it. Like I loved it. The way that they did that Adam Eve like episode, like I think that it would be great if they did that about any other character. It could have been Rexplode, it could have been, you know, Darkwing, anybody else. Like it would be really cool. But even just as a whole, it was really, I really enjoyed the way that they fleshed out a lot of the other characters this season. Really enjoyed it. With that said though, when it comes to side characters, I'm not gonna lie, I've been kind of feeling this way for a while, but bro, I can't stand the Immortal. Like bun that guy. Like I can't stand him. I can't get with him. I know that they've kind of tried to show depth of him by, you know, showing his love for Kate and things like that. They even showed him in the future to really show that he goes crazy because of he's the one that has to watch the Earth. But I don't know, like none of those things really made me care about this character. There's just something about him. I can't put my finger on it, but I would assume that if somebody had lived that long and they had superpowers, they'd act a bit more, I don't know. There's just something about him. I can't get with the Immortal. Everybody else I can get, but it's like this guy, I just can't with it. I can't get with it, man. I just can't do it. Yo, the Prison Break. I'm talking Nolan and Alan's Prison Break. Yo, that shit was crazy. I loved it. Like it was almost point for point with the comics. Like it was just amazing. You even had Battle Beast in there doing his thing, like low key, and this is gonna sound funny to say this, Alan the Alien might be one of my favorite characters on this show. I might even go so far as to say he's probably one of my favorite Seth Rogen characters, like period. You guys can light me up in the comments, or you guys can comment who your favorite Seth Rogen character is. But for me, like there's just something so delightful. I don't want to use that word, but it's like anytime that he comes on the screen, there's just a vibe switch, and I love it. Maybe it's from the fact that he got his power boost, so you know that there's kind of that invulnerability factor to him. He's never really gonna get hurt, but there's just something about him. I love Alan, and it's not like he's this peaceful guy, like he's with the shits, but he's one of my favorite characters in this show. I won't even lie. Like Alan the Alien, he always comes up clutch. If you guys have watched my Spider-Man video, link down below, it's a sick video, I'm telling you. I kind of talk a little bit in that video about gardeners versus architects, especially when it comes to writing a television show. Maybe it's because of the fact that this show was a comic book before it became a TV show, but I really love how nothing in this show everything in this show happens for a reason. You know, a lot of the plot holes that, I wouldn't even say plot holes, but a lot of the things that before, like, yeah, the different plot holes and stuff, you can see them slowly getting filled. Even just to the point of like when Anissa from last season was like, yo, another Viltrumite is coming. And that Viltrumite that's coming, he's even worse than me, da-da-da-da-da. You know, so when Conquest does come, it's like, oh shit, like there's some gravitas to it, like you feel it. Even just a Conquest fight, like yo, like that fight was sick. Like they really dragged it out. It felt earned, it felt worth it. Side note too, I don't know what it is with Viltrumites, especially anytime that they fight Mark, but they love to use this guy's body to just massacre the human population. Like every single time, when it was with his dad, obviously Conquest, yet at the same time Mark is so scared of killing people. It's like, bro, like anytime that you fight, period, you kill so many people, yet you're scared of killing people. Just irony. But going back to my point, just again, you've got the demon detective, and even I want to call him the zombie robot doctor. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but just, it's like everything that happens for a reason, and the fact that they're able to keep progressing with that while telling you a really captivating narrative, hands off, I love it. I love it, and I want to see more of it. This is gonna sound like a funny take, but stay with me now because I'm going somewhere with this. But this season in particular made me realize that Mark is not Spider-Man. I know, it goes without saying, you know that Mark is not Spider-Man. But what I mean by that is that Mark Grace in Invincible, he's always compared to Spider-Man, or he's always compared to Superman. Whenever people try to talk about him and who he is, they always try to compare him to those characters. Watching this show though, I realized, and it really hit me, it's like Mark is Gohan. If you really take it in, it's like Mark literally is Gohan. Goku is Nolan, goes without saying. Even Oliver, he gets his powers before Mark gets his powers, very much like Goten. You could say that Krillin, you could say that Cecil almost kind of plays that like Krillin, Piccolo type character. Even, you know, like there's so many different, just so many. Yeah. Anissa, you could say, is almost Raditz. Like, again, I'm not saying that it's a one-for-one parallel. Conquest and Nappa, like, again, you guys, even just a side note of how they talk about Conquest, and they really added that depth to him by saying like, yo, like none of the Viltrumites even like me, and this is, my whole purpose is just for conquest and for massacring planets, and when you bring me out, I'm the weapon. I love that. Like I thought it was great. You know, you even had Shapesmith out here doing his best Chaozu impression. I'm kidding. That was a deep cut joke. Still, I hope someone caught that. With that said though, it's like me watching this as an adult now, I can understand why I like this show and why it gets me, because this show is basically Dragon Ball Z. Like literally, this show is just Dragon Ball Z. And again, I love Dragon Ball Z, so it's gonna make sense that I'm gonna like this show because it has so many parallels. Again, not one for one, but yeah, the parallels are definitely there. Just for anybody watching this as well, I know I keep saying Dragon Ball Z. I love Dragon Ball Super. I love Dragon Ball. I didn't really watch GT that much. I obviously just say Dragon Ball Z. It's just a nice way of sealing things and just throwing it to you guys. But when I say that, I mean the whole universe. So I don't want to hear anything in the comments, all right? One thing about me is that when I watch a show, I like to challenge myself sometimes by seeing if I can break down that show to its easiest theme. Again, it's a lot easier said than done. Sometimes I can do it for like an episode, other times I can do it for a whole season, that type of thing. If I was to do that for this show, especially this season, I would really say that the theme of this season was truth. What I mean by that is that Mark is able to he's really coming into his own, both as a hero, as a protector, as a man, but he's able to live his truth. And I find it also really cool that everybody in his life knows that he's invincible. It's not like he has to hide anything. It's not like there's this weird, again, kind of back to, you know, that double life thing. He doesn't have to do that. It's like most of the time when you're watching any type of superhero media or fiction or, you know, anything like that, it's such a big part of that whole mythos is the idea that I have this double life and I can't let you win. This show is really cool because everybody knows who he is and everybody has powers. And I get that happens in a lot of superhero shows, especially as it goes later on into each season, but I find it really refreshing that we're here right now. I will say that. I find it cool that it's like, again, just the truth, man. To thine own heart be true. I love it. One of the few gripes that I will say that I have about this show, again, the pacing's not always there. It's not always perfect. Animation can be a bit budget sometimes, but in terms of narratively speaking, it feels like other than the Viltrumites, nobody else in this show is really a threat. Like, there's no other, I get that it's not the point of the show, and I get that at the end of the day, the Viltrumites are kind of the big threat of the show, but it would be cool if somebody else could do something. Even somebody like Angstrom is like, he was only a threat this season because he's able to go to different worlds and start the Viltrumite war, gather Viltrumite, you know? It's like, I get that you've got Powerplex there and he might end up being a powerhouse or something, but it would be really cool to see another villain on this show who has no Viltrumite relation really kind of step up and be that. If the Viltrumites are going to be like the A villains, it would be cool to have another villain be like the B villain, you know? Again, maybe that's just me, that's the stuff that I like, but yeah, I think that would be interesting to see. Overall, this season was definitely a bit of a slow burn. it did things very methodically, very step by step. It really brought us along like that, but it ended off with the biggest of bangs, of course. Obviously, I'm kind of interested to see what's going on with Eve's powers. It goes without saying, I'm still trying to see that one proper bulletproof fight scene. The squid guys are back. You've got the devil detective. I kind of want to see what's going on with him. And of course, like without ruining too much, I want to see what's going on with the Viltrum, like Thrag and Anissa, Nolan and Alan. Like there's so much that I want to see. And the fact that I'm wanting for more means the show did a great job. It really did satisfy me with what it gave me. Regardless, the streets have been talking, and I just wanted to come on here and give you guys my thoughts and really give you guys the Guapo review for the 3rd season of Thank you if you've made it this far. If you're a fan of this type of content, I'll need you to like, subscribe, and comment down below on what your favorite breakfast cereal was growing up. At least that way I'll know that you watched this to the end. Until the next time we meet, stay safe. Later days.